In this video, we'll look at problem number 344 of LeetCode, which is reverse string. So it says write a function that reverses a string. The input string is given as an array of characters S. So it's important to note here that the input is an array of characters and it's called as S. And we need to do this in place. So we need to modify the input array in place. So that means it's basically constant extra memory. So let's look at an example. So here they've given HELLO, and when you reverse it, you get OLLEH. So that's one example. Another example is Hannah becomes Hannah again because it's a palindrome. And there are a few constraints, and let's begin by asking a few questions. The first question would be, is it possible to get an empty array of characters, right? Because that's important to consider here. But if we look at the constraints, we see that the minimum size of the array would be 1. So no, we cannot get an empty array of characters. The next question will be, will the length of the array be even or odd? It's actually both, because the length varies from 1 to 10 to the power of 5. And it says here in the constraints that each character within the array will end up being a printable ASCII character. So that's another thing to consider. So how would we approach this, especially because we have to modify the array in place? That means we can't just create another array and traverse this original array backwards and add each character to the new array. That won't be possible. So we need to find out a way that we use within the original array itself, we swap the letters in such a way that it ends up reversing this string. So we will be making use of the two pointer approach over here. We will begin by having a start and an end pointer. So we will start with the string OLLEH, and our goal is to get hello, because that's the reversed version. So we have start and end, and now we are just going to swap the characters at index start and index end. So we are going to swap H and O. So we get H over here and over here. And now we are going to decrement the end pointer by 1. And then we're going to increment the start pointer by 1. And we'll basically swap E with L. So we get E over here and L over here. And we're going to increment start and decrement end. But the moment we notice that start and end are equal, we're going to stop, because there's no point swapping. It just means that the entire string has been reversed by now. So we got our desired result, which was hello. So now let's do the same with the string Google. So let's replace G with E. We're going to swap G and E. So we get E here and G here. And we're going to increment start, decrement end. And then we're going to swap O with L. L over here and O over here. Going to increment start and decrement end. And we're going to swap O with G. So G comes here and O comes here. So yeah, and we're going to stop because we would increment start here and then decrement end and find that start has gone past end. So we're going to stop the process right away. The reason why I picked these two examples was because hello has a length of 5, which is odd, and Google has a length of 6, which is even. So we just wanted to make sure that this solution worked for both even and odd strings, because we are swapping the letters. And yeah, as we saw, the solution works for both even and odd strings. So now let's look at the pseudocode. which would be, we'll have this initialize this start variable to be at index 0 and end to be at the last index, which is the length of the string, length of the array minus 1. And while start is less than end, as we saw. So when are we going to terminate, right? So we're going to terminate when start becomes either greater than or equal to end. That's the termination condition. So terminate when start is basically greater than or equal to end. So that's basically what this is doing. While start is less than end, we're just going to swap the character at index start with the character at index end, and we're going to increment start by 1 and decrement end by 1. So when we analyze the time complexity, it will be linear, big O of n, where n is the length of the string, because we'll be making use of 2 pointers, and we will be basically going through, in the worst case scenario, we'll be traversing through each letter within the string or within the array. And the auxiliary space, which is nothing but the extra space, will be constant because we're just making use of 2 pointers, and they take constant space regardless of the size of the input array. So that is it. Thank you all for watching. And here's the code. Just run in Python 3, and yeah, it works. This runs in linear time and constant space. That's the best possible solution. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and see you all in the next video.